to be bold and courageous, and these women did that. So we learn God remembers even the smallest faithful acts that defy injustice. In return, God blesses their families and they prosper. So that's a summary from Exodus chapter 1. Chapter 2, birth of Moses. Moses is born, hidden and placed in a basket. Pharaoh's daughter adopts him. Moses, as he grows later, he kills an Egyptian and flees to Midian. Here we see the word for basket is same as Noah's ark. The basket is also called as ark here, symbolizing divine preservation through water. Noah's ark also we see people and animals and all the livestock was preserved in ark. Over here, baby Moses was preserved in the basket called ark also. So God's deliverers are preserved in weakness before leading in strength. Chapter 3, Exodus, important chapter. God calls Moses at the burning bush. God appears in the bush that burns but is not consumed. God reveals his name, I am who I am. Here we see Moses removes his sandals, in ancient practice showing ownership transfer. Moses steps on into God's holy ground, which shows reverence before God. Removing sandals was an ancient Near Eastern sign of respect, humility, and reverence before someone greater. In God's presence, Moses acknowledges his unworthiness and bows to divine holiness. A little deeper, in Hebrew culture, sandals often symbolized rights of ownership or transfer, I said. For example, we also read in the book of Ruth, chapter 4, 7 to 8, removing a sandal sealed a land redemption or transfer. Next, by removing his sandals, Moses symbolically surrenders his claim and acknowledges that the ground belongs to God. Also, it's as if God is saying, this place is mine. Step onto it, not with your own rights, but as my servant. And then the burning bush itself shows God's holiness that does not consume. Removing sandals aligns Moses with this truth. You cannot approach God with worldly claims, but only in surrender. Later, when Joshua meets the angel of the Lord, we read in the book of Joshua, chapter 5, verse 15, there also, he too is asked to remove his sandals, reaffirming the same principle. God's presence claims the ground and the person. Takeaway for us is God's presence transforms ordinary ground into holy purpose. Exodus chapter 4, signs and reluctance of Moses. God gives signs: staff to serpent, leprous hand is healed, water turned into blood. Aaron is chosen as a spokesman in this chapter. On the journey, we also read God seeks to kill Moses until his wife Zipporah circumcises their son, showing leadership requires covenant obedience first at home. It's a message for us. If you're a leader, first of all, you have to be a promise keeper in your own house, and then you can serve the community and the society. So, takeaway for us is before leading God's people, personal covenant faithfulness must be the top priority. Exodus chapter 5, first confrontation with Pharaoh. Moses and Aaron now demand Israel's release. Pharaoh increases their workload. Israel complains bitterly against Moses. Pharaoh says here, who is the Lord? Introducing the central theme of Exodus. And then God making his name